Whenever, if 20 people come, we're going to give 20 people massive value. We ended up selling, there were 100 tickets. There were over 120 people there.
Hey movers, welcome to Smart Talk. This is where we help you go from truck to CEO by working smarter, not harder. Today, I've got a really special guest who really needs no intro. I've got Tim Krupp, founder of Krupp Moving, MoveBees, and the force behind Built to Move. If you missed this year's event, don't worry. We're going to break down the best moments, the biggest ahas, and why Tim is bringing the community back together for a virtual Built to Move coming up soon. Tim, welcome to Smart Talk.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. And we attended your event. It was fantastic. It was one of the biggest mover events of the year. It was your first time doing it. You brought people out to your hometown. Let's start with something big, right? What was your favorite moment from Built to Move?
Well, I mean, gosh, there were so many, but like immediately, we started getting like really good feedback, like middle of the first day of how needed this was and how much people were taking away and learning and showing us like, look at all the notes I mean, people just like, filling up their notepads with stuff they wanted to take back and, work on their companies. But, and it was also really cool that we were able to do it in my hometown, Worcester, Ohio. I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm not sure how many people want to, come to this event, but I've never done one before. So maybe I'm just going to do it in my hometown. However, if 20 people come, we're going to give 20 people massive value. We ended up selling, there were 100 tickets. There were over 120 people there with no advertising, so it was really cool. And it feels like we've got some really good momentum right now from that.
It was definitely magical. And honestly, like I attended the event and the town that you had it in is so much charm. And I think that's actually what made it so fun is to be in a place that wasn't a big bustling city, right? Like it really had that just that like downtown vibe feel and it was so natural. And a lot of people came together with that same momentum where we really wanted to connect. And you mentioned that movers were talking about like this is something that they needed right now, right? That feedback you got. Or what do you think that they're hungry for that really captured their attention at this event?
Yeah. So I saw there was a need for an event that was more like workshop classroom style, like where we're pulling reports and showing the stories that reports tell, right? And moving companies, I've been consulting a number of moving companies for a number of years now, and movers are really struggling with sales and sales process. That's a major one that we needed to dive into was like financial stuff and like cash flow reporting. The marketing that worked a couple years ago is not working as well. The companies that I consult that are and see that are the most successful have really strong leadership and really strong culture. So like all of these things were really led to me is like, I feel like there's so much that needs to be said and needs to be shared with companies so they know like what are the actionable items. Create an event where you're going to walk away with a notebook full of actionable items that you can go and start working on your company and get results right away. From company owners who are successful in this industry, know the industry, and who are willing to share everything and not hold anything back, right? There's nothing really proprietary. I'll share everything I do with anybody. I don't care if you're, one city over from my companies.
I think that community that's being built there is so special and there's no gatekeeping in it. I watched movers come together. You created a condition where they came together and were openly having those conversations and ideas were sparking. And I think my favorite part of the entire moment was as soon as the session started, I heard the rustling of papers. People were feverishly jotting down notes. I love that you really into the event with that as a goal. In a lot of businesses, it's like, oh, I can't talk to anybody. I can't share my secrets. But that's not how this industry is. And I think you've recognized that and you're a catalyst to setting that standard. Movers that are listening to this right now, make sure you subscribe. We're sitting down with Tim and other big powerhouses that are building communities for movers. We want to make sure we're breaking down all these big moving events so you know where to show up, what's worth your time, what you're going to get out of it. This one is a really special event. Built to Move is something that's becoming, it's a vibe, right? It's grown into its own thing. And so, Tim, I'd love to ask you, like, what is that approach to building community? You just didn't put on a show. I wouldn't call this a show. This, like, building a true community.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I didn't know like how big of a deal this would be when I first started, but I think, organically, really, we got a lot of like-minded people, right? Who were hungry for the same things, who are really interested in going in, retooling some things in their business, staying on the cutting edge, right? Because our industry is changing. Technology and AI, is coming at us like so fast now. And the companies who are really going to succeed in the long term are the companies who are willing to stay cutting edge, to go in, put in the work. There's some of us owners who have been CEOs for a lot of years are finding ourselves like, hey, we're not in cruise control anymore. I've got to go back in to my business for a little while and get some things straightened out. But I think the community really starts to happen when you get just like-minded people, like agreeing that this is what we need, this is what we're interested in, and this is the direction we're going to go. It's really happening, organically, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
I think it's incredibly special for like the folks that missed this live event. There's another event around the corner, and we should mention that. But
Yep.
let's talk about like who should be there. What are they going to walk away with so they know, hey, this is me.
Yeah, so I think this is for any size moving company. Anybody who, even if you're thinking about starting a moving company, you're going to start off on the right foot, right? If you come to this. I mean, we had companies there that were well into like, 8 figures. But we also had companies that were, just getting going. And I think that there was value for just about anybody. Doesn't really matter what size, but you can expect at one of our events that you are going to take away something that you need to fix in sales, maybe multiple things, how to dial in your pricing like the correct way without like just going and calling around and seeing what everybody else is doing. At the end of the day, you want your labor ratio to be like a certain percentage on your P&L. And there's a way to know how to do that, to not waste money on marketing and to have clarity on your marketing. Especially digital marketing has been like a black hole for a lot of movers for a lot of years. And it's kind of like intuition, gut, like I'm pretty sure that it's working, pretty sure that I'm getting business out of it, but didn't have like clear reporting and clear tracking, on that. And there's ways to do that. And then also always leveling up your leadership, right? If you want to lead, you've got to read. Leadership is a skill that, some people maybe have a little bit more of that naturally than others, but it's a skill that can be taught and it's a skill that can be developed over time. We're leaders of companies, leaders of large teams. We always need to be leveling up on the leadership piece. And then on the financial piece, financial literacy and clarity, knowing how to set a budget for your finances, to know your cash flow and to know what kind of cash position you're going to be in Q1 of the following year is so important for making decisions right now.
Tim, you just literally laid out a masterclass on running a successful business in just the last like minute that we talked. And this is all stuff that you guys could get at Built to Move. So movers, if this is the kind of event you want to attend, get into our comments and say, I'm in. We've got the reg links for Built to Move. And speaking of Built to Move, we just had the live event, but Tim, would you like to tell us about what's happening virtually and why are we taking this event online?
Yeah, I'd love to. So my event, it was limited to 100 tickets, right? And there was a ton of people who wanted tickets after they were sold out. We couldn't, we just couldn't fulfill that because this was really a test to see how successful it would be. And then also a lot of the company owners and CEOs who came out to the event really wished that they were able to have their teams see this and have their teams sit in on it. So we decided to go ahead and pivot into a virtual event, and that will be on January 7th and January 8th. We're bringing all the same talks, although I think that they'll be a little bit better and a little bit more refined because we've done it before. We know what people were interested in, but we're also adding some talks and some information as well. But the reason we're doing this is so anybody who didn't make it can come to this, can get the information. You have an opportunity to own all the talks. It's going to be recorded. We're going to do it with professional production and professional sound, so it's going to look great. It's going to sound great. But you can also have your teams around you, right? So if you're doing this at the office, get your whole team in there, get your administration team, get your sales team, get your ops managers, your dispatchers, everybody in there, because there is so much value in what all of these speakers are bringing for all of the people. So that's why we thought it was super important to get this information out to as many companies as possible. And the timing, I think, is perfect because January is when moving companies are starting to retool for the following year. It is slowed down enough. Now you can make changes. You can continue to scale, hopefully, through the slow season and crush it in 2026. So, if you attended the in-person event, you have an email where you can buy a ticket for like $99 to this thing. It's super inexpensive. So if you already came to live event, make sure you check your email.
That's an amazing value for the ticket price. And yes, I can't stress enough. Bring your teams with you. The content that was covered during the live event. I mean, I was watching people take notes, but they're saying, "Man, I wish I had my office admin here. I wish I had my head of sales here. I wish I had my finance team to hear this talk." And so I think that that's going to be a great value. So Tim, what advice would you give folks on, they're trying to get plugged in, they're a mover, they've been kind of isolated. What advice do you have for those people as they're starting to reach out and network?
Yeah. So networking is really been transformational in our industry since about 2017 when Moving Company Owners Unite started and we started sharing information. Early on, the companies who were there early are all like pretty much like multi-million-dollar companies now. So find your network, whether it's my event or other events. You want to start getting out there to the events, meeting other moving company owners, find your people, right? And start learning from them and then also start sharing. So I'm a firm believer that everybody should be being mentored by somebody who's further ahead than them, but then they should also be bringing somebody along who is not gotten to where they are yet, because you learn a lot when you teach. So get out there, network, find your people, go to these events. You need to know the cutting edge stuff that's happening in our industry and be early implementers of a lot of stuff, things that are tried and true and tested, right? So not every shiny object, but our industry is changing and we need to be learning. We need to be implementing. We need to be active as owners. So yeah, if you're just getting started, build your network for sure. Get to know some people.
That's fantastic and great advice, Tim. Thank you so much. It's always a joy to sit down and chat with you.
Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you, on building something that's actually helping our movers build real businesses and not just stay busy, right? And so movers, make sure you sign up for the virtual Built to Move, builttomove.co or .co. Follow them up on social media. Make sure you check out our full event recap of the live Built to Move 2025 up on the SmartMoving blog. We'll drop that link in the description. We'll see you next time on Smart Talk.